So moving on, I actually convinced my mother to let me be homeschooled. I did all my classes online. Maybe this is why I want so many certificates, because it just comes to me like it's easy for me. Like, it's just easier for me to learn because, yeah, I was going to go on a tangent, but I won't. That'll be for another video. So yeah, I don't want to say I dropped out of high school, but I got out of my public school and I graduated online. And I moved to Austin with my best friend, who's still my bestie, at age 17. And she went to school and I worked. And we lived like in the bad part of Austin, Texas. And we partied a lot. And I think I was lifted a little bit out of my depression. So before, like whenever I dropped out, whenever I dropped out of school and did the online school, my mom took me to a psychologist. And that is when I got my first diagnosis. That's when I was first diagnosed with the ADD, depression, and anxiety. And so I learned that ADD also a lot of times comes with depression and anxiety. So if you are not treating your ADD, that sometimes that happens. That's what I was told. I'm not a doctor or anything, disclaimer. I'm just sharing my experience. But so yeah, I got on medicine for that, but it was probably not the right time, because then like I think a month later, we had moved to Austin. Me and my best friend moved to Austin. We moved to Austin. I worked and she went to school. She's like the smartest human being I know. And we partied a lot. So like I was not I was taking the medication it was antidepressants, and then it was something for ADD and then something for anxiety. And yes, I needed those medications, but I wasn't taking my mental health seriously because I believe I was just in the doctor's office. Yes, you have all of this. You should probably do therapy. Here's your medication. Bye. Which, like, I needed to go. Looking back on it, like for my children, I want them to go to a therapist first. I believe you go to therapy any time of your life. You go when your life is good. You go when your life is bad. You go if you're feeling okay. You need therapy as much as you need a doctor, like a family doctor. So even like check-ins, like, hey, my life's going good, but like, let's talk. You don't know, when you sit down with your therapist, if you find one that you love, you have no idea what you need to get out. Honestly, like, if you've never been to a therapist, please just make an appointment and go. Like, one appointment. Like, do the consultation and then follow up with one appointment. I challenge you. Okay, so yeah, I was just pushed on medication and I was sent off on my way to start my adult life in Austin, Texas with my best friend. Like, that's dangerous. Okay, so I started working at this boutique, which I hated it. It was not my jam. So I quit that place and I was a hostess at Twin Peaks because I was only 17 and I couldn't wait tables yet. And so I was still going around untreated. Like, I know I was still depressed in some way. I was coping with alcohol and being surrounded by people all the time. And it was untreated. And yeah. So then I met a boy and I moved back to Houston because I wanted to be with this boy. And I just, again, like walking around untreated this time, I think I was, I was like 18, 19 during this time. So, and then I wasn't on I dropped my medication. I still was drinking, but not as much. And the reason is because I fell in love with fitness. This boy introduced me to fitness and I fell in love. He taught me how to work out, how to use all the machines. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, what is this feeling I'm feeling? Backtracking before Austin, though, I want to note, me and my girlfriend that moved to Austin with me, we had the whole summer we were going to lose weight. So I had a passion already because I had her in the gym every day. She talks about it to this day, how I would make her jump rope. We did like HIIT intervals, jump roping. So I knew I loved it. I just didn't know enough about it. So, okay, fast forwarding back. So this boy, he taught me how to work out. And yeah, I took it and I ran with it. And this is when like Instagram was coming out. And I found all like my favorite bodybuilders, the bikini bodybuilders. One of them was Bella, I think Falcone. Oh my God, I loved her. And then Ashley Horner. Who else? I just remember those two were like my faves. So I found how they worked out and I started working out by myself. And I felt amazing. And I was eating right. I was eating like a bro diet. So that's like just chicken, fish, rice, potatoes. Like I didn't know what macros were yet or macro counting was yet. So yeah, I fell in love with that. And that was a good part for my mental health. It still was going untreated though. I had anxiety, I had depression, all these years just untreated. So I had my baby at 19 and we went through a break. I had my baby at 19 and I went through a terrible, terrible, terrible breakup. I was 7 months pregnant this time. And I moved back in with my parents, my mom and dad. And they took such good care of me, as I'm sure any mother would. So yeah, I was big and pregnant and living back at my mom's house. And I was like, what? So I had big plans to like be a stay-at-home mom. I was waiting tables at the time between these years before I got pregnant. And then it was actually at Hooters. So then I quit because I'm like, I just like the girls that worked through their pregnancy at Hooters, I actually had friends that did it and they're amazing. But I just was like, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. So I thought that was the plan, you know, and when it didn't happen like that, it destroyed me. I remember waking up at 3 a.m. big and pregnant and just crying to my mom. She was just holding me in her arms and I was bawling, crying with this big belly. But that baby saved my life. He turned my life around in many, many ways. So I had my baby and of course goes with the drama of, you know, when you go through a breakup when you're pregnant, it's just unanswered questions. Like, okay, so now you have to get an attorney and you got to figure out, you know, the scheduling and all that stuff. It's just what you have to do. It's just what you have to do, especially if you don't get along. So yeah, I was going through all that and I was in a bad place, but I was in a bad place, but I was very like ready to show up for my baby. So like I was pushing things aside to show up for him. I was doing what I could to show up for him. And I did show up for him. And I knew I was a great mom, or I am a great mom. And I've been over backwards I do whatever I can for my kids, as any mother does. And so when my baby was about 2 months, my mother passed away unexpectedly in a car accident on the way to work. So